I think the myth, what I run into, or the objection that I run into a lot from family members, they say or hear hospice, the doctor utters hospice, and immediately it's no. No, no, no. No, my loved one is not ready for hospice. Hospice means he's dying, she's not going to be here. And there's all this emotion and all these questions and unsettled business. All the skeletons in the closet, everything comes to this pinpoint of hospice. And it's not that. Hospice is a beautiful, wonderful, supportive program to help families and their loved ones spend the last few months with dignity and grace and in a home environment rather than a clinical setting, not being poked and prodded, but being able to say goodbye and transition in a safe place, in a home. Nobody wants to be in a hospital room without any family members around or pictures, and the environment, it's so important. So that's the number one myth. So when people come to me, many times they call me and they just want information. I never talk to them again. I have one client that I'm thinking, actually she was never a client. She called me about her mother. She had pancreatic cancer and she didn't know how she was going to care for her. She had no money. Anyways, the mom moved in with a daughter and I went to visit. And she asked me about hospice and I said, you need to get hospice in here right away. And long story short, it took so much of the weight of the responsibility off of her shoulders. And the hospice team came in and assisted and took that burden so the daughter could be the daughter. And this happens in my life time and time again. So hospice team is a doctor that is assigned to the case that is there, and the person doesn't have to go out and see the doctors any longer, and a nurse that's there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to help them stay comfortable, because sometimes it can be painful. There's a volunteer. I am a hospice volunteer that goes in, that can hold anybody's hand and give some respite, some time to the loved ones that are bedside. There is a social worker that can put them in contact with all the resources that they need. And Medicare pays for this, so by goodness gracious, take advantage of the Medicare. I mean, all the supplies, the incontinence supplies, the medications, everything that's needed, even the Insure products and the diet changes, et cetera, it's all there. They'll have a bath aide come in a couple times a week to help keep them clean, and they're beautiful people. They have to have that in their heart or they wouldn't be in hospice. It's not for everyone. So I wholeheartedly recommend it to families when they're in that place. There's palliative care that comes before that. You need to consult with somebody that understands the process and not to be afraid, but to stay open. And we work with hospice. We're supportive of them. We work with them. They take care of the things I just mentioned, but a caregiver is there around the clock. So when they say caregiver, hospice is sometimes identifying the caregiver as a family member. It's the person that's going to be their bedside. And they teach them what to do. Some family members don't want to be their bedside. They want to hold their hand and be able to leave when they need to leave, maybe for emotional reasons, maybe for occupation, it depends. So then they'll hire someone like my firm to have a caregiver there that also has to have the heart to be there. So sometimes that's easier for the patient also, because there are things that need to be said and sometimes they can't say that to the family. They need a safe place. They're still, moms and dads are still trying to protect their sons and daughters. So that caregiver is really important to listen and to be that open space where they feel safe. So when we interview caregivers, one of our questions is, have you experienced with hospice? And many times they'll say yes. When we're talking about the clinical aspects, incontinence care, turning the patient, taking care of bed sores, etc., sponge baths. No, I want to know, have you experienced end of life? Have you been in the room when someone's actually passed and the family's there? That's a completely different experience. So that's what we try to do, is have those types of caregivers that have the heart for it be there in that place to hold everyone together.